Uh, bad news again this week, Kevin. We just did a
Uh,
goddamn show 2 weeks ago about Sullivan, which was crushing. I didn't see that coming. Nor was I
no,
prepared.
I didn't see Sid either. I mean,
For Sid,
I knew he had cancer, but I didn't know, to what,
was he 63?
yeah.
I think. Man, Sid was one of those guys. One of my regrets from the brilliant, revolutionary, and groundbreaking programming that kayfabe commentators used to do was I didn't get to do a Sid show. We had him booked. We were going to do a Breaking Kayfabe where it was really just me and the guests talking about their life, um, a little less formatted than the other shows. And he didn't get on the plane. He lost his wallet at the airport. Um, and I never got to work with him on that. And what I wanted to talk to him about, Kevin, you can tell me how you feel. If you had to create the 1980s wrestler in a laboratory, Sid Vicious would be spit out of the
I mean,
computer.
70s too, right? Could you imagine?
The later 70s when size started to become a thing, Superstar Billy Graham,
But
etc.
to have that kind of definition at his size with that look,
The intensity.
yeah, he was. I mean, I worked a ton with Sid,
He
and
from a
and I
mhm.
and I God, I can't even. I think besides Hunter, I've worked out more with Sid.
In the gym.
Yeah,
Okay.
because if you were anywhere, there'd always be like the gym that everybody went to.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you ran like Halifax or someplace like that up in Nova Scotia, and all the boys would go to the gym. And I would always, if we were doing the same thing, I'd train with Sid. Sid would always say it because I was telling him, dude, you overtrain, you train too much. He said, no such thing as overtraining, just undereating. And man, he would just pound. He would eat. Ugh.
What do you mean? Like what?
He would eat. I
His
mean, he was,
caloric intake was
yeah. And what, he didn't eat garbage.
right. How tall was he? Was he about your height?
6'8",
Right.
probably. Yeah.
His only weakness was the stick a little. I mean, he had that intensity and could be scary, but sometimes a wordsmith he was not. So, but he's not the kind of guy you put a mouthpiece with. Like you wouldn't want a manager to talk for him. But maybe in today's like more scripted era, he would have done better than the free form promo
Yeah, I
career.
don't know. I think it is what it is.
But his look was amazing.
Yeah, you don't get everything in life.
No, I'm learning that. I'm
Yeah,
learning
you
that.
don't get everything.
But now, Sid, I want to talk about that era now you were with Sid for the first time. When would have been?
My first road trip ever in wrestling.
Oh, he was in the car with Sheik, right? That was
Yep.
the famous story.
Oh,
Sid.
it was the giant jabroni Sid. It was my first in Dutch Mantel and my fucking tag team partner, and they ran him out of the business in 5 days.
Oh, that is true. Actually, yes.
Ah, that's a fucking shoot. They fucking
God.
ran him out of
Oh
the
yeah. No,
business
they
in
did. Oh
five
yeah.
days.
God. So you probably known Sid the longest or one of the guys
Oh
the
yeah,
longest in your tenure.
Steiners are the only ones I've known, and Barry Windham because I knew them when they were just living. I met the Steiners at Coffee's Gym, and Robbie and Scotty and I would train sometimes together.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I met Robbie first, then then Scotty came. I think Scotty was in Memphis, and Scotty came down to stay because he hooked up with Robbie, and they were wrestling for NWA. And then That was some good. NWA had, because Sid was NWA. Sid was a skyscraper with Spivey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He why what was in his way? And what I wanted to talk to him about was he the biggest impediment in his career? Like, did he get in his way the most? Why wasn't he one of the biggest stars? And he was big. But I'm talking about like long-term title holding, like federation changing. Was he not reliable enough? Was he difficult? Why wasn't Sid one of the biggest names in the
He
business?
was just fucking Sid. I mean, one of the stories that's always surfaced is, you know, Vince calls Sid into the office, and Sid comes in, and Vince says, you know, I'm going to give you Hogan's boots. Like, you're going to basically, like, Hogan's going to give you his gimmick, and he's going to pass the torch to you. And Sid looked at Vince and said, well, yeah, that's great and all, but what you need right now is a big vicious heel. So in other words, like, we're going to give you the Hogan spot. Nah, thanks, but I think you need a big vicious heel. So,
To my point,
I'm just
Sid
saying,
was
and,
Sid's worst enemy.
people will, I'll guarantee you, people that listen to this, or this, if this makes it out, and somebody says that I made reference to this, that it'll be something that everybody's. It's like the urban legend of that. You know, I don't think there's a witness to the meeting. You know, it's just
Yeah,
urban legend.
but you got it from a reliable source, I'd imagine.
Well, yeah, I mean, but
I want to believe that story. Should I?
yeah, I I believe it.
Okay.
I mean, because I mean, things didn't work out too well for Sid and WWE after that.
And so that's my point. So what?
We had to like it. I begged. Sean begged. We begged to get him back. You know, to get him back in.
And what were you met with?
He put it on us. He said, "You fucking, you know, I don't think you guys need it, but if you think so, then you know, Sean, then bring him in. We'll bring him in." So
Yeah. His WCW time versus his WWE time. Where would he have been? What would have been the best place for him if he had to stay somewhere for 20 years? What would have suited him best as far as the environment? The
see,
booking
he wasn't that. I mean, that's one of his, you know, one of the reasons why he wasn't the man was he had other shit he wanted to do. I mean, if he wanted to play fucking softball, he was gonna.
softball, right?
Right, if he
What the
was gonna play,
fuck?
fuck, man.
I mean, is that not
Obviously,
insane? It's insane.
no. Obviously, he's right. He's passed on at 63 years old, and he didn't miss those fucking softball games. He went and did it what the fuck he wanted to do. Because when he was 40 years old, fucking, they wanted to push him, and he said, I'm in the middle of a tournament right now. And they all fucking said, oh, Sid don't know what the fuck he's doing. Well, when Sid got brain cancer, I guarantee you, fucking Sid said, I am so fucking glad that I didn't have these motherfuckers.
Glad I took that extra
Took my
pitch.
time. Took my fucking
Did
time.
it his way. He did
Right.
it his way. Yeah, I guess you know,
Not many motherfuckers can say that.
I know. But I think the reason it's become a punchline, Kevin, with the softball is that he
It was
wasn't
a
like
shoot.
I know, but like it wasn't like he was like, guys, I want to try MMA. Guys, listen, I want to try my hand at the NBA. The Knicks are calling if I don't do it now. It was softball, which
Sid loved to get stoned and play I mean, it's like
yeah.
Well,
who
people,
doesn't?
people don't know how close Scott and Sid were.
I don't know this actually.
So Scott was going through some hard times, and I tried to get him to come down here a couple of different times, and he would always be like, you know, I don't want to fuck your shit up. You know, I'm with you all the time anyway. You know, I'll let you have your time at home. You know, and there was for a period. I don't know. This I think it was a month, maybe longer. I don't know, but I think Scott stayed with Sid over in West Memphis,
Mm-hmm.
where Sid grew up, and Sid had a crib. I think they hung out,
Mm-hmm.
but I know Scott loved the shit out of him, and vice versa. They were good. They were tight.
Um, Cancer. Lyle Alzado, I guess, is the first person I ever heard discuss a link between steroids and cancer. I don't think there's any proven evidence
There's
that
none.
his lymphoma, his brain lymphoma
No,
that
there's none.
had could be.
No,
So you don't give any
it was
credence to
it
that.
was actually it was actually debunked. It had nothing to do with it. No.
Okay.
If it was your liver, absolutely, because all that anabolic waste and shit, it's gonna tear your liver out.
Right.
So if you have liver cancer, you have brain, no.
Right. Yeah. So a shitty. So
The only I've heard this. I'm not sure that it's medically proven, but if you drive around in a pickup truck with a flag in the back of the fucking bed, that fucking noise of that flapping can fucking give you brain cancer.
might make you vote a little weird too. The
Just,
repetitious.
just,
You might not know how to answer when asked what caused the Civil War, and you might vote strangely. Yeah, I wanted to get a piece of the parquet when they closed the old garden. They started selling like little 1-inch squares of the Boston Garden parquet floor, and I never did it. And I should have, because unlike the Trump suit, they're finite.
but so, which it goes back into the fact of, do you know who the last two people in a WWF ring to wrestle in the Boston Garden were?
Give me the year.
95, I think.
Well, if it was 95, it would have been the last match of the night, which would have meant it was the main event. You were the champ in 95. So I would say you and Vader.
Sid.
No.
Yep. Me and Sid were the last match in Boston Garden.
And I just brought that up.
Yeah, and you just brought it up when we were just talking about Sid.
That's crazy.
That's the world. That's how shit works.
Fuck. Damn, so you closed the fucking garden for wrestling.
Yeah.
Was it as much of a shithole as everyone said? I've never attended a game there, but
I remember the first time I was there, I want to think it was for Survivor Series, and it was like 170 in the fucking in this dressing room. And
Survivor Series would have been November.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah, how you can have a building that hot and fucking coffee so lukewarm at the same time was like, what the? It's like it was like Mystery Hill. Watch water go up. Yeah, it was like, what the fuck? Yeah, it was a shithole. But not. I
The
used to hate
crowds were always hot, no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it was like fucking Madison Square Garden. That fucking place sucked cock. The
From the
backstage,
amenities standpoint.
oh, from the backstage and shit, compared to anywhere else you went, there's no parking. They revamped it and made it, you know, functional, but still,
Yeah, the Garden was notorious. The Boston Garden was notorious for the no kind of air control whatsoever.
They're both unbelievable venues to have gone and seen a sporting event in.
From a historic standpoint,
Yeah.
sure. But they said there were seats in the Boston Garden where you had like a pole in front of you, like up in the rafters, like
Yeah.
a lot of obstruction.
When I came home, when they were tearing down Tiger Stadium in Detroit, and I came home, I wanted my son to go to be at the Tiger game, and I was just like, I can't believe, and we lived in Phoenix. I want to think that maybe the Diamondbacks had been in existence like 2 years.
Mm.
So we're going to a baseball game that they're closing the top because it's too hot and running the air conditioning. And where we sit behind home plate is you've got like cocktail waitresses, and they can bring you food. I mean, it was like. And then I go back and there's fucking you get a hot dog. You're watching the fucking game. You're behind home plate. You've got to watch it on a monitor because anything that's a fucking too much of a fucking pop up, you lose it. You got to watch a monitor. They hand the hot dog down 60 people to you. I was just like,
Yeah,
tear this motherfucker down.
yeah. The new stadiums are a
Yeah.
far cry from what was